have you heard people argue from Exodus 21?
Yes, I've heard that argument.
But basically, abortion advocates are going to argue that if this is a miscarriage, then that means that if the baby dies as a result of this conflict, then all that's going to happen is that you'll have to pay a fine. But if something else happens, i.e. something happens to the woman, then it's life for life, tooth for tooth, and so on. So I guess I would ask you, how would you deal with that argument?
This community, especially the Reformed Jews, would love to use these arguments, but what they fail to understand is it's an equivocation fallacy. So they'll say, we support abortion, and right here it says that the woman will have a miscarriage, so obviously God is okay for miscarriages. That means he's okay with abortion. No, it doesn't. These are scenarios. Some of these scenarios are not normative. Like this, for example, this is not a normative scenario. This is like a what if.
The argument that I've heard has been that if this is miscarriage and all you do if the baby dies is pay a fine, then that means that the Mosaic law is not recognizing the fetus as a human being. Because if it did, then it would entail lex talionis, right? The hand for hand, the eye for eye, tooth for tooth, or the death penalty. I'm not someone who believes that the Mosaic law is perfect anyway. So even if this were the case, then it wouldn't necessarily bother me, because we have a different covenant now. We're in a different situation. I get what your point to, that this is a particular scenario. Even if this is a miscarriage, it's still not abortion.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And even if they're not recognizing the personhood of the fetus in this situation, which, it could very well just be that the scenario that is in play here is when a man is accidentally hitting a woman. Right. And we know in the Mosaic law too that the penalty for accidents is not as severe as the penalty for intentional homicide.
Yeah.
Right? So I would agree with you. I don't think this verse gets us where the pro-choicer would want to go.
Absolutely not.